Hello. Welcome to the book reading of Maintenance Required, Basic Auto Care Workbook and Resource Guide. Thank you, Co-Conspirator Press, for doing this series of live book readings, and I'm excited to try this out for the first time. So, yeah, just bear with me. I have a hotspot, so hopefully the connection will be good. And yeah, so it's really windy outside today. I was gonna do this all outside in front of the car, but I decided to do most of it inside. So welcome to the cab of my F-150. And I will start out while people begin joining. I'll read a little bit about this book. So the purpose of this book is to outline the basics of maintaining your car and to give an overview of how cars work. Understanding a few simple things about your car will help extend its life and give you agency and autonomy as a car owner. Performing preventative maintenance is a lot less expensive in the long run than paying to fix parts that weren't properly maintained. This book is not meant to be a definitive guide on how to fix all of the problems with your car yourself. It is a roadmap of how to get there and what questions to ask along the way. It will help give you the language and background knowledge to communicate with your mechanic. The content of the book is simple and pared down to essentials. I've limited the how-tos to just a few basics, and I encourage you to become familiar with the owner's manual for your specific car. There are many differences among the makes and models of cars, and it is important that you have the courage to do your own research on the specific problems that come up with your car. If you can learn to identify parts and understand how its systems work together, a whole world will open up. We are not born with this knowledge, and you have to start somewhere. So, I'm going to talk a lot about manuals. This manual in this car it's tiny because it's 30 years old. Newer manuals get a little bit bigger and a little bit more, there's so much information in these it can be intimidating. So that's a lot of why I wrote this book, is to give you a place to start. The other reason that I wrote this book is because I've been teaching this workshop at the Women's Center for Creative Work on basic auto care for a few years. And I have a slideshow that I always give at the beginning of the workshop. And people were asking me if I could give them a PDF, like a digital version of the slideshow. But I was using pictures from other books and other, stuff off the internet, and I didn't want to make the slideshow public. So I asked the Women's Center if I could use their print lab to make a little zine to hand out at the workshops. And then in a wonderful offer, they asked me if I wanted to publish it through Co-Conspirator Press. So I worked with MJ, who's the graphic designer, and it was a wonderful experience producing this book. So, okay, next part I want to read is one of my favorite parts of the book is your vehicle worksheet. And it's on page 10. And this is something that you can do, I'm thinking it'd be a great thing to do with kids or your roommates or your partner or the people who are, you're stuck with in this time when you really shouldn't be driving anyway. And your vehicle worksheet will help you learn more about your car. So it asks about what the make of the car is, the model year, the date of manufacture, the VIN number, tire pressure, and a number of other things about the car. One interesting thing is the difference between the model year and the date of manufacture. I describe that on page 17, and the model year, one of the years is on this door sticker and the other one is under the hood. So there's more details about how to find that when you read page 17 in the book. But one really important piece of information in the Your Vehicle worksheet is the oil viscosity and type. So the most important fluid that you should keep an eye on in your car is the oil. The engine oil. It is so important for the life of your vehicle, keeping the right amount of oil in your engine. And the best place to find the oil viscosity, which is the type, you want to find the type, and the viscosity, which is the thickness, is in your manual. So okay, monthly maintenance checklist. Check the oil, check the coolant, check the brake fluid, check the power steering fluid, check the windshield washer reservoir, tire pressure and spare tire pressure, tire tread. Check for any fluid leaks on the engine, hoses, or on the ground. And one place that can help you find where to check the oil levels and the fluids is in your manual. And I have a drawing here of my manual from my Honda Element. Ooh, someone says viscosity, great word. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to look and see. If you guys have any questions or comments, I can pay attention here. But, okay, so a lot of people don't know that in their manual it describes what all these fluid caps are, and, what to put in them and what to check for. The other favorite part of the book for me is on page 36 is maintenance schedules. Often overlooked, your maintenance schedule is the key to maintaining your vehicle to help ensure a long, healthy life of your car. Understanding and adhering to your maintenance schedule can prevent small problems from becoming big ones. Some manuals have two different maintenance schedules, one for severe driving and one for regular driving, and that confuses people sometimes. So severe driving means simply that you drive in a lot of stop-and-go traffic and take a lot of short trips. City driving can be considered severe driving. Short trips under 3 to 5 miles are harder on an engine because they do not allow the engine to get up to operating temperature and properly burn off the gases. So normally you would go with the severe driving maintenance schedule if you live in, if you take a lot of short trips, which I imagine a lot of us do. So, I have a little drawing of an example of the maintenance schedule. Okay, let's see. Check engine light. That is on page 37. Have any of you had to deal with a check engine light? Probably. So one thing that you can do is you can have the check engine light checked at a auto parts store. They will check to see what the check engine light means, the code that it's telling, for free. And what you can do is, yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Smiley face or frowny face. Yes. Okay. So we're all familiar with the check engine light, but what does it mean? So if you really want to get into it, you can get your own reader that you can plug into. It's called the OBD2 Onboard Diagnostic System. You can plug this in and it'll give you a number of what the code means. So, well, it doesn't tell you what the code means, it just tells you what the code is, like P0456. And so what you can do is you can Google what is P0456 on a 1998 Chevy S10, and it'll help steer you in the direction of what system is malfunctioning. It doesn't always tell you, well, it doesn't, it's not something that just says, okay, you need to replace this part for sure. A lot of times the auto parts store might tell you that, but they're in the business of selling parts. So the point of the check engine light is to, like give you an idea of what could be malfunctioning. Are these pricey? Women's Center asks. This was about $50, I think, so a little bit. But like I said, you can go to AutoZone, I think O'Reilly's, other auto parts stores, and they will get theirs out and plug it into your car and read it for free. And so then you can write down what the codes are and look them up yourself. So that's one thing to, empower yourself with. And okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, hi. Okay, another fun gadget that I think is a nice thing to have. Well, there's always these. How many of you have had to use jumper cables before? So on the jumper cables, there is a little tag which explains how to hook them up. So don't remove this tag. I've told people, oh, someone says, let's see, the fixed code reader works with smartphones. It tells you the problem and has a nationwide database with possible problem. Yeah, Cattell has shown me that this code reader, it's an app on your phone, so you can investigate that sort of thing too. Okay, so anyone who's had to use jumper cables, well, at this point, if you come out to your car, say it's been sitting for a week because you haven't been driving anywhere and you left the dome light on and your battery's dead, but you don't want to bother anyone, you're trying to keep your social distancing going. So a handy tool to have is one of these. Have any of y'all ever seen these before? It's a little portable battery that's very powerful. I'll turn it on. And right now it says it's at 52%. It also is a flashlight. Let's see if I can get that to turn on. No. Oh, yes. Okay, so it's a flashlight and a hazard light. And it also has little USB inputs that you can charge your phone with or your tablet or whatever. So, and the way that you charge it is it has its own little mini USB port that you then plug into your phone, a wall charger. And what happens is you open up this slot here and you grab your jumper cable ends, which looks like this, and you plug it in here, and then you hook it up to the battery. And I'm going to take you guys outside to show you how this all works. Okay, let's go on field trip outside. Okay, try not to make you too busy. Okay. Still a little windy. It won't be too loud. So let me click you into my... We'll turn you around. Uh-oh. Okay. So now, here we are at the Jeep battery, and we've got our jump box ready. So you hook it up to positive cable. It's turned off right now. Positive cable, or in the negative terminal, positive terminal, negative terminal. You turn it on, and then this is if your battery's dead, of course. So then you go in the car, and this should be able to give your battery enough boost to start it. If you have to try over and over, sometimes you have to turn this off and turn it back on again because it'll get hot, but it'll tell you in the instructions. So this is actually kind of a slightly pricey item, but very, very handy to have in emergencies. Something I wanted to talk about, if you don't want to spend any money, which a lot of us are probably in that boat now. There we go. Okay, so if you don't want to be spending money, one thing that you can do to get to know your car a little bit better while we have some free time is you can work on cleaning the engine bay. And the first thing that you can do is to grab a brush and simply just brush all of the dusty parts. If you just brush them away. This engine bay is pretty darn clean because that's kind of how I am. But you can brush all of the dust off. You start to see the black, paint, and you can use a regular, paintbrush, any kind of brush really. Get the dust off, and then you can use a rag with soapy water, or with WD-40 is sometimes nice to use, or sometimes just water will work. And then as you do this, you can say, okay, what is this reservoir for? This says it's power steering, but not all of them are labeled. So that's one thing that you can do that doesn't cost a lot of money to get to know your car during this time. And I'm going to do a little demo of, let's see. Okay. Okay, so at this moment, we'll go back to the check engine light situation. Let me show you my car. Right now does have a check engine light. Oh, I have a question about new super cables. Don't know that mine have the connection to that battery. I'm not sure about that question. I don't think you need super newer cables. You just have to make sure that they're not corroded. Or are you talking about your battery cables? Let's see. Give me some more details on that question while I show everybody how to read the check engine light. Okay, so you turn the car off. And you've got your reader here. And it has a plug that's sort of like a triangle. And you might have to crawl down to look where the plug goes in. I already know where this one is, so I just plug it in. And it says pocket scan. So what you do is you turn your key on. It's called key on, engine off. And I'm going to push read. I've got 2 codes. Oh boy. So PO442 and PO455. So I'll write those down and then I'll look them up. I already know that it's an emissions problem, but okay. There we go. All right. Okay, are there any other questions than Julia's questions about battery cables? I think I'm ready to ask the quiz question if you guys want to jump in on answering it. And the answer is not... online is one answer, but I want to hear the answer of the answer that I gave earlier, if you were paying attention. So the question is, where do you find what motor oil viscosity your engine requires? And while anyone is answering that, I'm going to read this section on engine oil. And that'll be the last bit that I read today. So, motor oil is arguably the most essential fluid for your car's operation. What motor oil does for your engine? Okay, MJ answered the question correctly. Yes, in your manual. MJ already has a copy of the book. So I'm going to ask another question here in a minute. And someone who, yes, mad cultured, maybe, yeah. So if you would like a copy of the book, message us and we will send you one. I think Co-Conspirator Press is not mailing out copies right now, but I can send one out from my stash. So, okay. Oh, let's see Julia's question again. I think my cables just has the red and black clamps on both ends. Not sure how I would plug that into the battery, but I'll investigate. Okay, so you have a regular jumper cables that you plug, you use another person's car to help you jump your dead battery. So that's where you read on the cables, on the cord, on the cables there should be a little tag that explains how to hook them up, like in what order. And the other place that you can find that information is probably in your manual. So I'm going to read a little bit about oil. What motor oil does for your engine. It protects by inhibiting rust and corrosion. It lubricates by helping reduce friction between moving metal parts. It cleans by filtering impurities through the oil filter. It cools by absorbing heat as it flows through the engine and returns to the oil pan. It seals gaps between metal parts, preventing the escape of gases through the combustion chamber. Okay. If you drive your car low on oil, lack of lubrication and overheating can do major and costly damage to metal parts, seals, and gaskets in the engine. Check your owner's manual for oil change interval, viscosity, capacity, and oil type. The interval is how many thousands of miles or how much time in months is the maximum amount recommended between oil and filter changes. The interval can be determined by time or by mileage, such as every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. Viscosity is the thickness of the oil. Your car's engine requires a specific viscosity. Typical multi-grade oils are 0W20, 5W20, and 5W30. Check your owner's manual for the proper viscosity. The capacity is how many quarts of oil are needed for an oil and filter change. So when your car gets an oil change, all of the old oil is removed from a drain plug at the very bottom of the engine. There is an oil filter that is also removed and replaced. Fresh quarts of oil are put in through the oil filler hole at the top of the engine. Synthetic versus conventional oil. Synthetic oil has increased lubricating and cleaning qualities, but is also more expensive. If your car requires synthetic oil, use it. Check your owner's manual to determine the type of oil that's best for your car's engine. Okay. What I'm understanding the question to be is, do you need an attachment to connect jumper cables to the blue battery pack to jump the car battery? Okay, lots of questions about this. The little battery pack comes with its own little cables. So they plug specifically into that battery pack. So it's a whole unit that is all together as one. Okay, hopefully that helps answer that question. Okay, so I think that it's been about 30 minutes, and I've talked about maintenance schedules and how to investigate your check engine light. I've talked about cleaning your engine bay with brushes and water and rags so that you can get to know what the different parts of your engine are, or where the different filler caps are for different fluids. So that's something you can do. And I really like a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of kind of homemade do-it-yourself channels, or like videos of people working on their cars, which sometimes can be a little hard to watch, maybe sort of like this video, but they can often help you understand, just from a normal person's perspective, like what's going on with your engine and what the different parts are. So, and just to review my favorite part of the book, which is your vehicle worksheet, filling this out with your kids or with your friends or your roommates or whoever you're quarantining with can really help you to understand more about your car. And this book, Maintenance Required, it is just all about getting you to have a little bit more confidence in approaching working on your car yourself, or just understanding more about how it needs to be maintained. And I think with that, I'm going to end the video. So thank you so much for watching, and thanks to Co-Conspirator Press for having these author reading sessions. And yeah, I hope that you stay safe. Oh, okay. How do we contact you to get a copy of the book while Co-Conspirator is not shipping? My handle is at Lyon Sarah, LYONSARAH. Or if you let the Co-Conspirator Press know, they'll get with me. So yes. Thank you so much.